ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Boba Fett reviews. Another episode of GeekVerse. I am the Black Chrysanthemum Stan, Travis Snail, and I'm joined by...
Back to tank, Kirklin Patzer.
I'm fighting for it because I definitely had it first. I'm the Chrysanthemum Taylor Field.
Yeah, but yours is weird. I'm the Chrysanthemum, so you're just the guy's name. I'm the Stan. I stan him.
You were the BK Stan. You're the Burger King Stan. I was confused by your name.
No. I just don't want to attempt to spell chrysanthemum at fucking 1 a.m. in the morning. So it's like, you know what? Just gonna do this. But 100%. But yeah, you should be like, I don't know. You like the trend. You like the Vespa people, Taylor. You've been talking all week how you're a big fan of them. So those.
That wasn't me.
You like the Aqualish people.
Episode, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, yes. So as always, this is our weekly.
Oof, rough start.
Rough start.
Rough start. Yeah. This is our weekly review of Boba Fett. I'm not sure. Have they confirmed how many episodes there is this season?
I thought it was 8, but I'll double check here, see if I can find it.
So
I think someone said 7, but I don't know who that was.
I thought I heard 7 too. I really hope it's 7, so we want to have 3 more of these instead of 4. And that's maybe my thoughts. But yeah, we got lots of stuff popping off this week. We had a mega newscast yesterday. There's 7. Okay, thank God. We had a mega newscast yesterday. I got to go back, but I'm pretty sure it's our biggest newscast of all time as far as downloads wise. So big thank you to everybody that checked out that. What'd you say?
Crazy.
Sorry. They just said great. They sounded like sarcastic. They're like, fuck, more people are listening. But
I don't want people to hear me.
Yeah, so check that out. We had a really good old time talking about Moon Knight, and I'm really excited for that Disney Plus show to start. And we got Peacemaker coming. We got another kind of newscast tomorrow, but it's more just the MCU Golden Geeks. So we'll finally hear Taylor's eternal thoughts and everything like that. So Taylor, where can they find all this stuff when they drop?
Ladies and gentlemen, you can find us with your internet connection in the search bar. GeekVerse.ca is our home base. GeekVerseCast is our Twitter. GeekVerse on our Facebook.
Yeah, so we would really appreciate if you go down the links below. Everything's there. Our audio feeds, our video feeds, the podcast network of all the shows, our main feeds, review feeds, new feeds, tons of feeds everywhere. We're Boba Feeds. That's what we should be. But the biggest thing is go over to Patreon and support us there, because that is the biggest help in these months, because you guys are the backbone to GeekVerse, and you create more content. We got some really good stuff like Comic Virgins coming up. We have some retrospectives that we'll be recording soon that patrons recommended, and lots of benefits there. But the biggest thing is this Friday coming up is After 9. So any Phase 2 Patrons and up, you get to call in, and for 2 hours we're gonna I was gonna say shit around, joke around, shoot the shit. We're just gonna shit around,
beat off around.
Yeah, like that bush. But like, we're gonna have a good old time catching up with everybody and just talking about. I'm excited to get everyone else's Boba Fett's thoughts. I'm not sure if Taylor will be, but I'm excited to see what they think. And
I'm gonna opt out of that segment.
Yeah, and then you get episodes ad free, early exclusive. But honestly, again, the more you support us, the more content that affords us to be able to create and use our free time for. So we appreciate everybody that is on there. If you like what we do, rate and review wherever you're listening. So yeah, I will go first actually, because I've not been on the past 2 weeks. So if you go just this past week, we were on the vodka stream and I shared some of my thoughts there. But so this episode is pretty much how I feel about majority of the episodes. And now how we've talked about this in the town halls, but how this works is, every week one of us we usually do about 3 to 4 casts a week, and someone gets 1 cast off. And I don't know what the fuck has happened. Remember, Taylor, when my Wi-Fi was shit and then yours was good, and then mine was good and then yours was shit, and now it's back.
Mine's been always good. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, it's not. Remember a few weeks ago when you looking like 120p? You could.
I was counting them.
Yeah, and there were so many times where you'd go on for like 3 minutes, like this talking. So no, now it's transferred back to me. So
keep it on that side of the bridge. I'm untouched over here on the west side.
Apparently, when all goes to shit, Kirklin's fine. But so we get days off and stuff like that, and usually we take the newscasts off. But I elected to take the Boba Fett ones off. Not really planned, but because I feel like there's definitely people that love it. But if you look at the Disney Plus shows, I feel like I'm in the same sentiment with a lot of people that as far as the hype and excitement, this is just not bringing it. This is not like I'm waiting for, and I've watched them like last week I did fall asleep midway through, but the week before I did watch and I was up and I was just like, I'm not motivated to like, I can't wait to talk about both. I've not had one thing other than maybe Black Chrysanthemum. I've not had one thing where like, I cannot wait to talk to the boys about. And luckily, most of my thoughts the past 2 weeks, if you want to go back, have been pretty similar to Kirkland Patzer's. I feel the show is really slow, but at the same time we're rushing, which is a really weird feeling. Black Chrysanthemum's fucking awesome. I hope they just announce a spin-off series with him. I want a John Wick series of someone wronging him and just fucking everybody up or fucking them, whatever it may be. I don't care. And we got some good content with him in this episode. Boba Fett, as I've said before, he is remind me too much of Simple Jack from Tropic Thunder, where he just does not seem smart. He does not seem all there. He just is not a character I'm investing in. It sucks that this is a character that, again, I've always said he sucks, so it's not a big deal, but still there was like the aura of Boba Fett. That's really completely gone. And I don't know if we're going to get more of this. I'm really excited to see what the finale does, because the opening numbers were around the same as like Falcon Winter Soldier, WandaVision, so it's still doing well and stuff like that. But I'm excited to see the end of the season if people have kept, because I feel like anticipation has definitely waned from this series. So it's one of these things that if there's a season 2, we'll watch and review, but I'm not that excited yet. And if he appears and stuff, cool. But I just don't really like Boba Fett as the character. I think this episode actually started to provide us with some answers of like reasons he's doing for what he's doing. So that's good. But again, then there's some moments, one in particular with a robot, where I'm just like, this is cartoony as fuck. Like, this is really strange. And this feels...
That's my bounty hunter right there. Deadliest bounty hunter in the galaxy.
It feels very... And maybe this is why Taylor... Like, it feels very... Some of the stuff I don't like about Clone Wars. It feels very kid-oriented at times. And that's fine. But I didn't think Boba Fett was going to be the show we got that. You know, I thought Mando kind of covered that with Baby Yoda and Grogu and all this stuff. But, yeah, I'm trying to think of everything else again. They're supposed to be sort of big stakes, but it all still feels very, very small. And yeah, I'm still very much waiting to care. I think the show is fine. It's not bad, but it's definitely, I don't have anything I'm super hyped to jump on and talk about tonight, just like the past few weeks. So that's kind of been my overall thoughts of the past few weeks, and just even this episode. I got some things to shout out, but again, and this is a minor spoiler, but everyone knows the routine now. Just go back to when me and Taylor reviewed episode 1, and I just love when Taylor was like, well, he can't be in that bathtub tank all the time. And oh man, he is in that bathtub tank all the time. He's in the bathtub tank majority of these episodes, and it's just, that's somebody that I'm somebody that doesn't like flashbacks or prequels, so I'm already like, okay, let's see how this goes. And then the content they provide us, to me, is always not that good or interesting, or it's something that could have been done a lot quicker, like the stuff got today. We got a very long flashback segment, and I don't think we learned too much more, you know? So what are you laughing at? You laughing at that one hair that keeps falling on my face?
The one hair. I didn't notice it until it was just dropping down. I'm like, was that there the whole time?
Won't leave me
I didn't even hear what you said. I was so focused on it. But
go ahead.
I was just going to carry on and talk about my thoughts.
You carry on.
I was things to say.
No. I was going to throw it to Taylor, be more positive, but no, just rain on the parade. Unless you're more positive this week.
I am more positive this week. This is... I think this is honestly my favorite episode so far. But before we get too excited, it isn't enough to like really lift the show up. It's still sitting in that same spot that it's kind of been for me. But I think this was a bit of a fresh air. Like I was kind of in like a drowning submarine, and then I found a little pocket of air. It's like, okay, I'm not drowning in this submarine that is Boba feeds. God, that made me chuckle. But yeah, no, I think there was some fun stuff in here, some stuff that I like about Star Wars that was actually in this. Just, going back to like just the old technology of certain droids and stuff that they had, and just certain world stuff of being on Tatooine. I think I was eating that stuff up, which was really, really fun. There was actually one moment that I actually laughed from Boba Fett joke, which I think was like the first time in the series that I wasn't just laughing at something ridiculous going on, or his fucking veneer teeth or something like that. It was actually a line that he dropped that made me chuckle, which caught me off by surprise. Maybe I'm just sleepy, who knows? But all in all, the show is still pretty much where, like, it's on the same caliber, I think, of what I was rating it so far. But like I said in previous reviews, like I think after the second and third episode, I really like recalibrated my expectations, and now it's like okay, I can at least jump in and know what I'm getting, and that's I think this episode kind of was enough to lift that up a little bit because my expectations were just so low, and then there's some cool stuff that happened that actually made me like it. But yeah, no, I'll save most of my thoughts for spoilers just to talk about specifics. But yeah, I hope every episode after this just gets better and better.
Taylor Field.
Oh gosh, for me, every episode has just been on a rising escalation of just everything that I love. And
All rise.
The episodes have just been like, I know you guys are definitely iffy with the flashbacks. I love these flashbacks specifically because I just feel like it really dives into much more in-depth, concrete stuff for Boba Fett, and it just so much of this world building in this show is making me really appreciate aspects that I didn't care for in Star Wars before. And to me, that is a huge success. And any kind of media or franchise that can offer different perspectives and kind of just sway your standing on look at it the bigger picture and just kind of like look at it in a different light and kind of respect it for what they're trying to do or just the storytelling of it. I think that's awesome. It's a success for me. So when we get to the point in this episode and the things they do and they execute, really, really liked it, appreciate it, and they tie some storylines off with a bow and kind of conclude the progression of certain things and answers that I have. I love that. And again, I just feel like this episode gave me so many awesome moments that I've just been, I didn't know I needed or wanted, but I got to just see, and it was just like the perfect like bewilderment that I just got to be snapped into in Star Wars. So definitely a big win this week for me with this new episode.
Well, there you go. A big win for Taylor Field. Anything else on spoilers? Should we get into it?
Let's get into it.
All right, we're going to get into it. So then, if you've not seen the episode, now's your time to bow out. But I'm sure you have. So we'll take a first ad break, and then we'll be right back. And we're back. So we may as well just start with the Bacta tank, because that's where we start with all the time. All the time. He's always in this thing. Derpy Games says OG fans going to be mad because the fact they acknowledge the name change of the ship truly means they don't care about Lucasfilm build.
They called it Fire Spray this episode. The first new name drop, actually.
Oh, did they?
They did. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what Boba called it.
I don't know
I
what
don't
I
have a
thought
problem
that was. I heard fire spray, and for some reason I didn't equate that to a ship. I thought he was talking about some trusty rifle or something.
Me either, yeah. That's a whole conversation. Do I really... Okay, here's the thing. Do I really think they needed to change the name? I don't think they needed to, but I understand because the context of it. But here's where it really comes down to. I guess I really don't give a fuck because it's just the name of the ship. Like, it's just like I don't know. I don't understand. It's like, okay, it's not called Slave One anymore. Who cares? It's a ship we see every so often. If you still want to call it Slave One, you can call it Slave One. And I understand the context around why they would want to change it. I think, what is it? Fire Spray?
Fire Spray, yeah.
Fire Spray, that's a fucking terrible name too, though. So that sucks. Like, it's
Red
obviously
Tails.
not
Tip their hat to Red Tails.
Obviously, it's not offensive, but it just is like that's what you come up with is Fire Spray. You know.
I think you make a good point. Like, if people do get like offended or weirded out the fact that they changed the name, so be it. I think you can just equate it like, hey, Django had a ship. He called it Slave One, and it's Boba's now. He's calling it whatever he wants. I don't know if Fire Spray is the actual name of the model of the ship or just the code name that Boba has given it. But I would assume like Fire Spray is the same as like a Corellian white like freighter, like the Millennium Falcon is. So who knows?
And I don't care. Maybe we lose some fans here. I feel like if you're one of these people that generally are getting worried or upset about these like minute name changes, I feel like you gotta reevaluate your life, man. You know, like if you're doing it in a fun, jokey manner, that's all cool. But if this is something that like kept you up at night or like really hurt you, or you're making the Kathleen Kennedy red-eye
breaking
video,
people's marriages up.
well, if it's that, it's just like, man, it's just the name of the ship. But yeah, they did do that, and this whole episode was about I'd say the majority of it was getting back the ship, getting back Fire Sprayer, whatever the fuck it's gonna be. Oh man, what's going on, Taylor?
I got my Lego Fire Spray right there.
Oh yeah, it's hard to see because it is so small. Not that the
I
ship's
thought that
small,
was
just
Slave
like,
One.
Yeah, yeah,
this
yeah.
guy.
That's what do you mean as far as but anyway, so it's about him trying to get his ship back from Jabba's palace, but more importantly, him meeting Fennec. We got, which was fun, a nice little callback to Mandalorian and like the setup there. You know, back to the Spurs that Taylor for years. So that's not Boba Fett. And
I swear I
Boba
heard
Fett.
like a hint of the theme too from Mando, like
Oh,
when
yeah.
he sees the light, and I was like, I don't know what that is, but this is exciting. And then obviously when we get to Fennec, I'm like, oh, I think that's all I'm getting from Mandalorian.
Yeah, and then it was bold, not bold because they didn't know how it was gonna go, but it's just so funny after last week how the cyberpunk people were such a miss that the episode started with them. I was like, oh shit, like this is not good, especially that. And then the girl, I can't remember her name, but the girl who was part of that cyberpunk, there's like some interview that came out today. She's like, oh, you're gonna learn lots more about my character, and it's like, oh, I bet this is maybe one they wish they had back. But so here's my thoughts on the cyberpunk people. Okay, yes, the Vespas, the colorful, the chase last week, that was all bad stuff. That was all, to me, like bad prequel era things that just didn't work. I don't necessarily mind I know people have been like, well, why do these people are like cyberpunk people in the Star Wars universe? I don't mind that. I think it was just the set. I think Taylor brought up the like, whether it be like a Canto Bright or something else, where I just feel they just don't fit on Tatooine, especially if these guys are supposed to be these like, oh, they're downtrodden and they're just trying, like they're stealing water. But it's like, okay, they clearly can afford quite a few good things here. So I think it's just the setting of it as far as, you know, I don't know. I just don't dig it. Even the guy we met today, he still feels very Robert Rodriguez. He feels out of place as far as like she's gonna die, but you got these credits. Why didn't you tell me? With the colored hair and everything. So again, I don't know if it doesn't feel Star Wars. It just doesn't feel. It feels odd that there's like this little pocket of Tatooine, but obviously Fennec, as she's pretty much the Terminator now, RoboCop. She got all these parts replaced. So what do you think with the opening, Kirkland? Fennec's, this is the origin of how she was saved.
Yeah, so I kind of just chuckled out loud because we got the back to tank right away, and then it was just him on like what are those creatures called?
Bantha?
The Bantha.
Yeah.
10
so
points to
he's just-
Travis.
He's just creeping on the little Bantha there.
10 points to Gryffindor.
And yeah, I think I was worried at that point because I'm like, oh no, we're gonna get like a really drawn out episode of him just
With the
interfacing with more
Bantha.
sand people, or like and him just stroking it like he was with the Rancor, which we actually got at this point.
Do you know
He
how to
fucking-
dance, Bantha?
He loves his animals, which give him credit there. He's such a changed man. Some may say he's a completely different character than what he was in the original, but he wasn't much of a character in the original,
No.
so I can't really have enough.
This is
much
what he
to
was
compare
doing
to.
in between jobs. He was just petting
In his
animals.
mind, he's just like, I can't wait to go play with the Banthas once I'm
Yeah.
done working for the Hutts.
Every time he showed to jobs, you guys got any Banthas around here?
Got that Bantha?
yeah, I can't pet the Rancor.
I need that Bantha. Yeah. But I think once we started getting into like the Fennec stuff, like I think what really sold me over on the episode was when he finally like was explaining like his rhetoric and like to
Finally.
Fennec, and like being like, like people are just taking advantage of us bounty hunters, and like I'm tired of seeing my type of people just getting like killed off by the idiocies of people that purchased us. And then I think right there I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I remember what the show is supposed to be about. So okay, I'm in it now for at least this episode. And I think from that point on, barring some minor missteps or something, I think from that point on I was kind of in on the episode, just seeing like him and Fennec being buddies together. I think I liked Fennec enough from the show, and then I think I really liked from the show I'm in to see Mandalorian. And then when Boba was in Mandalorian, I think I was just again nostalgia, like, oh my god, I can't believe Boba's back. And then now that I'm like spending more time with Boba, I'm like, oh, he actually wasn't that great of a character. Which is always a sad thing, especially when the show is dedicated to him. But I think in this episode I got enough of the both of them like interfacing together. That was kind of fun. The line I was mentioning was when she uses like the button in the ship, and then he's just like, don't touch my buttons. And for whatever reason, I just actually chuckled at that. It kind of snuck up on me. But no, that was
flamethrowers or.
That whole like sequence too, though, when they like go to the Starlight Pit, I'm like, what the fuck is this guy doing? Like, doesn't the sheriff have his armor right now? And then like, I'm trying
Carl
to
Vance out there. That was his name, right? Carl Vance or
Cobb Vanth.
comments, out there just fucking cosplaying as Boba Fett. Well, this guy risks his life.
I know. And then I'm like, what is he gonna do? He's just gonna go in there with a flashlight, see if he can find his armor. Okay, whatever.
Yep, that's
and
what
then
he did.
it takes us to like an action sequence, and then I'm like, okay, that's it. He's gonna give up. And then it just the next scene, he's just like covered in goo. Like he actually went in there, spent who knows how long just looking for his armor. I'm like, holy shit, this is strange. But I was
It's
kind of
like if
bouncing
you drop
all
your
over
car
there.
keys somewhere, you gotta find them. You gotta go
Gotta
to the
retrace your
sewer.
steps.
Gotta go down there, find them in the muck.
Yeah. Like, what if he just never came out? Like, he just died in there. Like, oh no,
Fennec
I made
gets
it
a
up the
ship.
first time.
Fire sprayer's mine.
Fennec does not wait either. I'm renaming it to Slave 2 as well.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's what he did. He literally shined a flashlight down there. I was like, you down there, armor? And I actually didn't mind the whole sequence. I thought it was really cool. I liked the effects. I
Yeah,
loved the
you
inside
did
of
like
Starlight. I didn't like Fennec's fire in the hole line. I thought that was just kind of
That was
cheesy.
weird.
And I know that's something you might really say in real life, but it's just sometimes it just doesn't feel cool. It felt too almost, and maybe Taylor will correct me, but I don't know if anyone said fire in the hole in Star Wars before. It just feels
If they can
Oh,
say "I'll
absolutely.
see you in hell" in Star Wars, then I can make room for them saying "fire in the hole."
I can't. So that's where we're different. It comes off as like I'm watching a Jingle All the Way episode with Arnold, like fire in the hole, and it's just like it's just a minor stuff, but it's things where like, okay, yeah, this show's still not firing on all cylinders, and that's where it's stuff like you talked about, like, oh, he's not the Boba Fett from the past, but that's where with the new canon and no legend, it's like it is tough because there was, if you look at just the movies, take out Clone Wars, there is nothing about Boba Fett, right?
Yeah.
He's just a dude, so it's just like this is. For better or worse, he ended up with Jon Favreau and Robert Rodriguez, and this is what they imagine the character to be. Now, I don't know if it really fit. Again, and it's funny with Mandalorian and Boba Fett, I still would really have liked if we would have just got some sort of show at some point where it was more of them just taking jobs and actually being an assassin and hitman and stuff, and I think that's what more people wanted, but I think it's good that they are starting to establish. I think this episode could have maybe been earlier in the season, because I talked about many times of like, yeah, and Taylor was right. He said like, oh, I don't know if he said this on the review. We talked privately, but it's just he doesn't want to work as an underling anymore, and that's fine. But that's the thing where it's like Taylor shouldn't be telling me. That's why I kept asking the show, like, tell me. And the fact that if there is 7 episodes and it took to over half the season to get it, that's where I go. I think this episode could have been a little earlier. So Taylor, what do you think about the all the flashbacks?
I think in like comparison to that, like I was telling you that, but that's what I had learned from like the start. So that was the messaging that I was picking up from the beginning of this show.
He
Even
doesn't
like
say
in the
anything
end
that
credits of
insinuates that,
Mando,
though,
I feel like that was kind of insinuated. So
Yeah, but you could just be like, oh, hey, I guess it was insinuated. It was just like, he just kills this random dude. Because I also hated in this episode, they're like, all of you tried to take out Bib Fortuna, and who did it? This man. And what was the scene? He just literally walked in the palace, shot him inside the throne. It's like, that to me puts the stock down of all these other Tatooine crime bosses. Like, you couldn't fucking do what Boba Fett did, just walk in and shoot him. So that's why I think it felt so low stakes that I needed that more of like, did he just take this job because it's like, or become the crime lord? Like, okay, well, I got money now, because this whole system makes no sense to me. Still, they need to explain this a bit better, because I don't understand why they couldn't have killed Bib Fortuna. It seemed pretty easy.
what was your initial question again? Sorry.
They're just about the flashbacks overall.
Yeah, man. I'm as I said in the non-spoilers, I'm really into the flashback stuff that we've gotten, and just kind of the follow up to last week's flashbacks that were interrupted by Chrysanthemum. I can feel like I can confidently say this is the last sequence of flashbacks we're gonna get, specifically because several mentions that they had in this episode again, like, you fully healed like Lord Fett, like, and a few other things too, where the story and the flashbacks has kind of reached the point in.
Don't call him Lord Fett. That's
That's what they call him. That's what they call him in the show.
I don't like Lord Fett. Sound like a fucking Harry Potter character over here.
But yeah, the flashbacks have gotten now to the point where we're at in present day, and it kind of concludes with that end credits scene and from Mandalorian season 2. So it's cool to see where we've kind of gotten, and I love the whole dynamic of them actually going to get fire spray out of Jabba's palace and everything like that. I thought it was a good time.
Yeah.
It was fun. I really liked how he's like swinging the ship around, trying to turn around, do like a 3-point turn and in the like parking lot there. And Fennec was just, really showed her skill set there. And I've really grown to like Fennec. Like seeing her in like very briefly in Mandalorian, like I would have loved to have gotten a little bit more in her in that season 1, but it is what it is. And then we got a good chunk of her in the Bad Batch, I'd say, which I really like seeing a lot more depth of her character there. And then yeah, season 2, and now like she's just really proven herself to be one of my like really favorite kind of bounty hunter characters.
Yeah, I like her enough. Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Kirklin.
I was just gonna touch upon like that whole rescue sequence, or like just taking like the ship back. I really love that whole sequence. It just felt like a fun mission. I could picture that in like a video game or something. Like, okay, and then even just her gadgets. Like I'm just such a sucker for any time I see gadgets in shows like that. And I was getting Spy Kids vibes when she was just like melting those bars. I'm like, oh yeah, they're going to the thumbs.
Do you have more?
Yeah, but what are we gonna say?
Oh no, go ahead.
What were you gonna?
I was just gonna keep
intrigued
riding on my thoughts, but I don't want to cut you off. You got more Fennec stuff.
Well, yeah, like you said, like we just see her kind of popping off and like kicking ass, and that's
better
always
than
fun to
Boba.
see. Absolutely, she's way better than Boba.
I hope
And
she fucking turns on him at the end of the season, and we get Lord Fennec because Boba needs
Yeah.
to go.
I'm kind of just leaning that I'm never gonna get like the prime Boba again. It's just gonna be this old man. He's looking better by the end of this episode, but still, I cannot picture just like the actors or like Tamara Morrison like just doing what she's doing. I know there's stunt doubles and everything, but he looks so fucking blocky. He reminds me of like a C-3PO, like when he walks around, especially when he was like carrying Fennec to like the mod place. He just looked like one of those robots, like just doing like very square movements. It's hard to explain, but
Even
if you know,
sometimes
you know.
he speaks when he's just like, "I am Boba Fett."
Oh yeah, he does.
And I think like here's the like, I think I know what Morrison's going for. I think he's trying to like portray like the cold killer, but it doesn't come off that way. It just, like you said, comes off very like Droid like and with no emotion, and which is you can go, oh, it's Boba Fett, but it's not. As we've gone a few episodes of him like showing lots of emotion, as we just joked about, like to different animals and species and stuff like that. So it's like clearly he can be an emotional guy. So it's just kind of weird. But they talk about the Sand people changed him and he's stronger. So his teeth are still looking great. And I do like the bantha. I do question.
You like the bantha?
I love the bantha.
Get out of here, girl.
No, I didn't
Go
like
make
that
some
at all.
baby banthas.
Yeah,
Go make
no.
some baby bantas.
I didn't like that. He's just he's a weirdo. I've just established that how weird Luke was in Last Jedi has nothing compared to what happened to Boba Fett.
Don't you see I'm busy? Get out of here.
Yeah,
with my Rancor.
I'm busy. Leave me be. Oh, but sir, it's something important. Is it? But anyways, yeah, no, he said like go off and go make bantha babies. I was all in bantha until that, and it's just I find it personally strange. It just comes off as weird, but I like the bantha, even though I do question it from a reality point of view. I go, would it just be faster to walk? Because this bantha, like obviously now it's good for him to carry things like Fennec. Yeah, it is exhausting, but the speed that bantha travels at, man. It is going so slow and everything like that, but yeah, I liked him. I think the bantha looked really good too. I don't think there was any problems. I liked the moment he fed the bantha, and he's just like always sleeping on them. So again, I was actually disappointed we lost the bantha. I quite liked him. I hope he comes back in the finale. I hope that I hope that he rides her on the back of the Rancor, and they're just like he's like a Power Ranger, like stacking up his species and stuff. Like he has his porgs on
there too.
Yeah. The Rancor's riding a mass of that, and then he has a bunch of porgs around him. Like he just becomes George of the Jungle, Boba Fett. In the war, he just has like all these animals fight for him.
So I just want to touch upon this because this scene was just absolutely fantastic in the flashbacks when he gets fire spray. And he pulls up on the speeders, and I'm just like, I'm hoping that we get this, because you see the group of speeders, and then you see the ship in the background. I'm thinking, oh fuck, are they gonna do this? And I was laughing just out of pure satisfaction and enjoyment. He just light them the fuck up.
Oh yeah, he drove by. I was expecting like Grove Street. He's repping like green colors on his San Andreas meme there. Never mind.
He didn't have to use that missile, but the fact that he did was just so fucking amazing on that one bike. Like, what do you do? Like, I'm sure everyone that's a gamer has been in a situation where you got an enemy strafe run coming down on you and you can't do fuck all. And it was just so satisfying to see Boba just lay them out.
He may as well have just been cackling and said it's over for you right before he dispatched
Yeah.
them and everything like that. So yeah, no, that was fun. That feels very much like the jokes of Jon Favreau playing with a bunch of toys directing these episodes like that. Like, okay, they're gonna be on the bikes and we're just gonna have Boba drive by and fuck them up. It's like, okay, cool.
I know, it's just like they're riding, and then I just see fire spray, whatever the ship's called, just like in the
peripheral
distance.
vision.
And then I'm like, oh no, what's going on here? He's not gonna pull them over. And then it goes to like Boba in the cabin. He's
Pulls
just
him
like,
over.
like he's just got angry face on. It's like, oh my gosh, he's really doing this. It was.
I would have loved to see him pull him over and have like a discussion about it, like try like, hey, I'm not happy with you guys, you know. But no, this to me felt like something Boba Fett would do, which is good, you know. So because now he's in the whole like, well, we got to deal with respect and loyalty and all this stuff, which I don't know if it's gonna work for him. And I will say though, like, where do you think all those dudes were when he killed Bib Fortuna in Jabba's palace? Because like they at one point when they showed the layout of to get fire spray, there was like at least maybe a couple dozen guys, maybe at least 15. Where were those guys when Boba Fett just walked in and popped their guy, you know? And where are they now?
I don't know.
Maybe
they're on
maybe he
vacation.
killed them off screen.
They're going to work one day and he's just driving behind
As
them.
we've
and-
seen, like Boba and Kersantin can just stroll right into the Hutt Palace, so it's not really a well fortified
no,
thing.
people just
lot of
walking
holes.
constantly. No, I would just love that. It's really awkward. Like they're always worried Boba Fett's gonna kill them with that ship. He's like, yeah, I'll see you tomorrow for work. And the Jabba Hutt employee's like, yeah, like, I'll see you. And then they're driving home. They're like, oh, good, I made. And then they look behind them like, oh fuck. And every day you're worried you're gonna be the next one on your way back to work. Just Boba
It's over
Fett
for you.
running you down.
Jeez.
I was gonna say they set up that Fennec was gonna leave him and stuff like that, want to do her own thing, but he's like, "I'll give you something you've never had, loyalty," and they're insta best buddies and everything. Which is that, of course, I buy because he saved her and everything like that.
Yeah.
Spent some money. Thank goodness this is all he wanted because he was acting a little shady at some points. But yeah, she just has like a robotic rib cage now, so it was a fun reveal that I get. Like I imagine if she gets shot there in the future, it might take a few more bullets. Like I don't think she's just gonna die instantly. So I think all my kind of problems with Boba Fennec, I don't really have them because I think they made me buy in that why she would at least stick around, right? And you know,
Maybe it's one of those situations where if we get the book of Fennec and it's like, oh no, this is where we just explore the character and realize that there's nothing there, and then we just really don't like it.
yeah. I don't think we need the Book of Fennec, but you know.
No, I agree. Just quickly, I wanted to mention with the bantha, like last thing on that is just that's again like just the practical effects on the creatures, and that's just very much like the original trilogy. And I think I love anytime they do that. We were talking about droids, or we were hinting to droids, and like when they go into the kitchen there, and we just have like again like the practical effects on the droids there. They looked absolutely amazing in my eyes. I think that they should just keep that style. I understand like you got to CGI some things in Star Wars, but let's not get completely away from that. You know, like I don't want to get the prequels like realm of just creatures and stuff like that. But yeah, when I get this chef droid that's just pulling out the General Grievous moves.
Oh yeah, that was so good. I can't wait for the memes of that.
Oh, absolutely. Like, first of all, it was funny that he was doing the General, like, literally the exact same General Grievous moves. But also, I'm like, this chef is just going to, like, die for this compound. Like, this is the most loyal, like, cooking droid I think you could ever buy. I was so surprised when he's just like, okay, this is where I take them on.
Boba Fett hopefully finds one of those in the future. You know, he's a good cooking droid, and yeah, I agree with you. They look good. I didn't like Boba Fett running after the little one because, like I said, that felt like
Yeah, that was
felt,
bad.
It felt like Harry and Marv after Kevin.
Yeah.
It just didn't play in the middle of like what's supposed to be. I imagine a serious scene, like get it, come here, and he's just trying to grab my throat, and to more and more, so he cannot for the life of him get this little robot, and it's just like fuck, you're Boba Fett, man, like. Figure this out. Do this. Throw a fucking plate at the thing, but no, you know. But.
Well, that's when I was watching that. I'm like, yeah, okay, this is where Boba Fett is now, and it's just like this is supposed to be like a scary bounty hunter, and you know he's stronger now. I think I would lean with Fennec and say he's just really soft now. That was just such a weird scene.
I think
and then when he
that-
grabs it and holds it to the wall, he's like, "I am Boba Fett." I thought he was gonna say, "I am vengeance" for a second there.
I am the knight. Yeah, and then I guess maybe they headcan this. The show hasn't done this, but maybe I'm just gonna say that the Sarlacc took a lot out of him, and like this is the reason why he is. Like I'm gonna say, so my Boba in the past, so like in the middle while he was trying to catch Han Solo, he wasn't like the fucking petting zoo, like, oh, I gotta go get Han Solo now. I'll be back, Banthas. Like I'm gonna say that I'm busy. I'm gonna say that after Return of the Jedi, because this happened, this just fucked him up mentally, and this is the way he is, So if
I like
that's
that
the
reasoning.
case, then that's it.
I mean, he almost died of like dehydration. Yeah, being digested. That'd mess me up.
Yeah,
So-
I just wish the show would say it, because they'd be like, okay, this is the way he is. But now I just gotta, okay, he's simple Boba. That's fine.
It just really, really bleached my teeth, and that's why they look this way.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
like pit juice.
Let's take a ad break, and then we'll be back with more thoughts. So we'll be right back. And we're back. Where do we want to go next?
I would like to touch upon this meeting that he had with the
Of course.
Yes,
different
it was in the
alien
trailer, wasn't it?
species. Yeah.
Go.
Takes
Touch
away.
upon it.
Yeah.
Oh, I just I love that we got the different district leaders kind of popping in here, and just this whole political discussion. I'm such a sucker for this kind of stuff. I really like seeing, again, just the Trandoshan's kind of like pinpointing like why would we want to help you. And it just, even though it came to this aspect of like they're not going to betray him, they're not going to get in the way or anything, but they're going to leave him to fight. Like I like that dynamic, because I wanted that, because it's gonna, where this episode kind of went, it gives me hope where we're going with who could be making an appearance. And it also gave us reason to bring in Kirsantan back into the fold and be employed by Boba. So I'm just stoked to see the fallout of this gathering and what's going to happen. But I just really like him just getting to just flex on these guys, and just the Rancor just like shaking from underneath the table, just going to town. Like I just love the whole like I am the daimyo of Mos Espa.
So I'll go, because I saw Kirklin smile. I don't know if he's smiling the same thing. I'll counter at least your point today when you're like, oh, good to see him flex. He did to a point, but I love that he pitches what he wants, and they're all like, no, not gonna do that. And he's like, oh, do you sure about this? And they're kind of like, well, what you gonna do? And Boba Fett's like, well, nothing really.
I'm
He's
gonna
like,
carry on with my day and do what I originally planned.
Like, I thought this was gonna be the moment where Boba Fett really stood up and convinced. Even if the Rancor pop on the ground was gonna be the one moment where like, fuck yeah, we better join this guy. Even that was like, nah, fuck him. Like again, I felt like it was a moment where it's like, okay, we can make Boba Fett really stand up here, especially after last episode was all about no one respects you, anything like that. He's gonna give this great speech, and either they're gonna join him, or he's gonna give this great speech, they're gonna say no, and he's gonna almost like make them do it in some way, right? And because then at that point, why even have the Rancor jump scare? It was just like, okay, we were showing it's down there, cool. So I thought it was complete opposite. Again, it made him look not silly, but just not capable of just, oh, what are you going to do about it? Well, nothing. You guys can do what you want. Okay, we're going to do what you want. Okay. And he did get them to say like, yeah, just don't turn on me. But it's just like, that's not a big ask. It's just, they're just going to stay out of it. So I don't think he got to flex. I think he just like, he gained nothing. He gained a minor thing, but he had everyone come to his hut, had this big meeting, and he didn't close the deal. So it's just like, man, this guy is fucking useless. He can't do anything. But good, he has the Rancor ready to go. So
Yeah, I definitely thought very similarly. Like I was waiting for like some big break in the negotiations. It's just like, oh, negotiations didn't go as planned. Let's just carry on with the show. And it was like, really? Okay. So, like, what is stopping for those other people, like, from siding with the Pikes? Like, oh, he's got this Rancor in his cage. Like, what's gonna happen? Is he gonna come after us with all, or like, individually throw us all in the pit? Like, yeah, like having the Rancor there, that was definitely a great like, it was a cool like moment with just like, oh yeah, forgot just like the power of the Rancor can just like bring fear with people, but then. Like you said, Travis, like I was like, okay, this is where they really side on him, and then he starts assembling his armies. They're like, no, we'll just stay out of it. And it's like, okay.
and he accepts it really easily. Like, okay,
Yeah.
You don't have to be with me. It's like
It's
why did we
like
do
because he
this?
pitched the idea. He's like, yeah, I won those negotiations, but it's like, no, you didn't. Like, you didn't get your defensive alliance. Like you're pitching. Like you didn't get anything. They're just all neutral now.
But I think
Stay out of my way.
I think that's one of the goals that he was aiming for. Like, it's just not to make more enemies out of this, and just people see him as weak. They don't respect him.
He's soft.
And like it's
He
not
is
about
still soft.
forcing them to join him in his fight or whatnot, because again, for them, like they'll just sit back. They may not want to fight. I think that's one of the first things that's set up, especially by the Hutts, is like war is bad for business, and I think most crime syndicates know this. And the Pikes aren't necessarily going in for war. They are going at thinking, hey, we got this place given to us by the mayor, and they're just kind of unloading their setup into Mos Espa. But I think for me, I took it as, hey, they don't want to get into this battle and die for someone else's cause when it could just maybe be beneficial for them. Maybe it wouldn't be. They're just going to kind of just go with the flow and just kind of maintain their district for whatever duration of time that they can. So I think that when Boba is trying to assert himself, like, hey, just don't betray me, and you can just continue on your way, but I'm not going to forget it. And here I'm going to flex the fact that, hey, I am rising to power here, but I'm not going to force you to overstep and like do something you don't want to do, because then that is going to be bad for business, and that's going to paint another target on my back, not only from now the Pikes, but from you as well, that I forced you into this. So
I guess that's one thing. I think I said in the first episode how small it feels, and that's how I felt after these last three too. Is like you say, he's rising to power. I don't really understand how he's rising to power. I don't think they've displayed that at all really good. Like even just last week, like, okay, he has the Vespa gang, cool. Like where does that really, like, my whole thing is I didn't understand it. Like he's just gonna come in and be like, oh, operations running continually. We've not seen anything that, like when he talked to that mayor's whatever, the Twi'lek lady in the first episode, and she's like, oh, we're doing this. He's like, yeah, I will allow you to run and do these things, but it's just like, okay, but how is he allowing? And I think that's my biggest disappointment of the show, other than Boba, is just, if it's supposed to be about like the crime underworld and how it works, usually in a Goodfellas or The Departed, you get these tons of scenes of seeing all these characters, just like how the system works and how, drug running works or weapon running works, stuff like that. It's not. It's just like Boba's in the hut and it's just assumed all this stuff is going on. But again, we see like the guards, we see Fennec, and I guess now, now I'm forgetting to say his name, Chrysanthemum. Croissantin? Is he croissantin now? Like a
croissant?
Croissant? Really? Either way, the BK. Like I feel like I would want to see more of, okay, how is him and his operation affecting Tatooine? How is he running more? And it feels so small time. It feels like it should be the reverse, where he is, he has Jabba's hut, but he's at the bottom of the food chain, and this feels more like he's trying to build up. And that could be the case, but again, it's given conflicting things of, oh, he is trying to build up, but then at the same time, he's talking to people about operations running smoothly. It's just, again, what are these operations? What are these, like, and they're trying to make him be this, like, it's all about loyal, and he wants to go with, like, almost good guy Boba. But at the end of the day, I would assume it's like, I don't know, is it backpedaling death sticks and stuff? Is it selling weapons illegally? Like, how is Boba Fett making his money? I would imagine it's not in a clean way, but we don't know that. I have no idea what's happening with Boba and the Hutts. Like, whatever is happening on Tatooine, I have no idea what he's doing. He's just, I have this.
It's just tributes for now.
Another just really strange thing that came out of like the negotiations was his claim, like, "Oh yeah, I'll make the streets safe." It's like, what the fuck are you making it safe through? Isn't this entire room just like a bunch of crime syndicates that are like probably selling death sticks? Like, who is he protecting them from? Like, I just didn't understand what this was. Like, is it the biker gang that he just completely mowed down, like a couple, however long ago? I guess that was in a flashback, but yeah, it was just. Like, I'm definitely siding with Travis here, where I just don't really understand, like, what we're trying to accomplish here, and I don't think it was explained well, like, at all up to this point.
And that's the thing, so with the mayor, it's like he's like the antagonist, right? Is it because the mayor is shady, or is it because he's a good guy? Because you can take the approach that we're the bad guys, criminals, and he's a good guy. So that's fine, because he's the antagonist of the show. But if it's like, well, the mayor's shady, he's, doing some bad things to Tatooine. Well, what the fuck are you doing? What the friends, like, you guys are part of the crime syndicate. Like, I don't, like, and that's why I think they need to show the levels of what they're doing, show the levels of why the mayor is bad, other than just, like, right now it just feels like a property dispute, which is like fine. And I do think for me, I guess maybe another reason I was not disappointed with this episode, but let down was after last week when the Pikes did show up. That I felt like 4 was going to be a big turn. Like, okay, we're going to get some hype stuff here. This ended a cool way. People are showing up. They're going to take over. What's going to happen? And this was like a full-on cool down episode. I was like, I don't know if we need that. But like I said, probably even more than Boba, I want some context of the world, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think it's very, very surface level. The same way I felt about like Jabba's palace. It does not feel the same to me as Return of the Jedi. It feels very quiet. It feels very empty. It feels not like Jabba's palace felt like this living, breathing creature that was like so busy and so much stuff there. And I know things have changed, but again, it's just like they showed that time when he took over, got his ship back. There was a lot of people there. But now when he killed Bib Fortuna, they all left. And yeah, I think the stakes of the world need to be very classic. Because again, like when Mandalorian comes to see him in the future, it's like, so is Boba Fett. He's on Tatooine. Is he the crime boss? Is like, again, I feel like there could be some problems with the way Mandalorian, or I guess Din Djarin's starting to have his like kind of more good guy side aesthetic. How's he going to feel about this? I don't know, but I don't think they'll ever answer that. It's just like, like I said, I think it's just like property.
It's funny how you mentioned Din Djarin because I feel like we will see him within this season now.
Yeah,
especially with how they close this episode out. They clicked into Mando's theme, right? When they're insinuating like, oh, I got credits and we can buy help. And so like on that note, I would love to see, Mando kind of pop in here and help this whole kind of battle unfold. But then the other things that I do want to see too is like credits do speak. And this is my own like guilty pleasure. What I want to see like Cad Bane just pop in. And I mean, I as unlikely as some of these things could be, I just would love to see it. Just get Cad Bane in there and get Hondo Anaka in there as well. I'd love to see him and just the other pirates just pop in. I'm sure you would like that too, Travis.
Did you see what happened to Travis there? He had like a really gross face on, and then he just killed his cam.
I didn't want to sneeze on air, you motherfucker.
There you go. Would you like to see Hondo appear?
Of course, I'd actually get excited by the show and stuff like that. But yeah, no, and I guess that's the same thing. When you name all these characters, I thought that's kind of more the Boba Fett show I was hoping for. Even if it was just on Tatooine, a lot more of the crime syndicate, but we just have a lot of Boba in the sand and stuff. But yeah, I think you do one or the other. I don't think they'd do Hondo and Cad Bane. I personally am hoping they save Cad Bane for another show just because I haven't enjoyed this. So I feel he might fit better in Mando because we don't know where Mando's going to take place, but I would love just a full-on episode of them sending someone paying Cad Bane to go take out Mando and get that Darksaber back. So I'd rather him being saved there. Hondo possibly, but yeah, I think we're going to get a big war. Again, I'm very interested to see what the scope of that is when we get it. I really don't want it to feel like it's just one little set
just another train sequence.
Well, yeah, we'll see. So that's why I'm not getting too excited because I just feel like. But then again, I feel like Mandalorian did a great job when they did that Crate Dragon sequence in season 2, right? So it goes back and forth. Sometimes the same thing with Marvel is like some of the episodes feel very, oh, this is the world we live in. And sometimes feel like, okay, this is just one fucking road and here we are. I think Star Wars, it's a lot tougher because with it majority being CGI, it feels a lot more like that. But yeah. We gotta talk Chrysantin. I don't like calling him Chrysantin. I thought it was Chrysantin.
You can pronounce it how you like. It's all good.
I guess Chrysantin. We're both right.
On Chrysantin, Kirklin, you got your arm Wookiee pull finally.
That's I know. I was waiting for it, and then I totally thought she was gonna talk him down. I'm like, no, let's fucking rip both the arms. Only got one arm, but still, I'll take it. I was happy. Reminded me of the Lego Star Wars games.
He forgot he could do that last week with Boba, so he should lead with that move. But yeah, Kirklin, what do you think about Black Chrysantin being a part of this crew? Because you guys wanted that last week, but then he ran off, and I was very much in that same thing of like, they better bring him back, and that I'll give the episode credit there. That right away they brought him back. He's in the crew, awesome.
Yeah, like we got him back, but was there a reason for him to like wander off on his own? Not really. Like
no.
He had to go get drunk. Just size up Trandoshans in the bar.
I guess so. He wanted to just fuck up some Trandoshans, but credit to him, I guess. But like as soon as he just like walks off, and then I'm like, oh, okay, he's just gonna pay him here. Yeah, okay, no, come work for me. And then I'm like, this easily could have just happened, last week and could have saved some time in this episode, but I don't know. This episode wasn't too long. I think it was second longest.
48 minutes.
Yeah, I think it's the second longest because I think they have 2 at 37 minutes. But all in all, I fucking love him. He's awesome. I think he's probably the best part of the show right now. Just a new Wookiee. He looks badass. He looks war ready, and I'm excited to see him like really pop off. I'm actually, maybe I'll double back and say it is good that he didn't pair up last week because then you don't see him just fuck up, like a bar fight again, or just more action again. New bar fight here, and yeah, that was good to see. So yeah, maybe I'll take back what I said.
No, I was just laughing because I'm the same as you. That he's my favorite part of the show, and I just think about how minimal he's in the show and everything. But I like the concept. Yeah, Black Santa, he's just fun. I like that they did do the arm ripoff. I like that he got recruited, and he just looks so good. Like he looks so well done. So I really like that. I hope he sticks around. I hope, especially if Mando does come in, I want him to meet Mando and stuff. Like I just love Black Santa so much, and that's some of the stuff of Star Wars that when you can catch that in the bottle of just creating some cool character. And yeah, again, I was with at least Kirklin last week. I thought the fight last week was very underwhelming as far as it just felt like Boba had plot armor the entire time. Like what? Like even then, like why did the Wookiee just kind of like wake him up out of the bath to tank him, pull him out? Like he should just start choking him right.
Rip his arms off.
Yeah. It felt very strange. The whole situation, him getting in, the crew showing up. But last week, definitely don't want to talk about that. As Kyle Smith said, fuck that episode. But yeah, I like Black Santa. I'm excited to see more and see what he gets up to, I guess. The only thing I'll say is a negative of that scene, I don't understand the dynamic of him and that lady, because I feel like the last time we left off with Boba and...
they boned.
No, definitely not. Boba gives off no sexual energy whatsoever. I'm sorry.
Oh, I thought you meant the Wookiee
and the woman.
Fuck yeah. He went to town on her in the back. Yeah, you just hear Wookiee screams. But no, I was talking about Boba and her. I felt like the last time they had some sort of meeting it was very tense, or they're kind of like opposite sides. But the fact that this ended with the joke of like, well, at least you tried, and she like kind of looks at the camera like, wah wah, and like, yeah, I did. It was a weird beat, and I didn't like it. And again, top of the stakes of the show, if we're trying to set up some sort of like power struggle, them like kind of joking with one another. Doesn't do it for me. That just again makes it feel very minuscule. So I don't know what's going on with her and the club and how they feel about everything. It's just again, it's just something. It's just like, oh well, they're there, cool. Taylor, Black Santa, thoughts?
Again, he's fantastic. I mentioned to you. I mentioned on my Twitter. I mentioned to you prior actually that I am just putting it out into the universe that I feel like in my prediction that we'll see him again in the Obi-Wan show. And I just think that getting him in more context here in this episode is just fantastic. He's just such a force to be reckoned with. I love that he's getting angry at the Trandoshan's because Trandoshan's deal with like Wookiee pelts and all that kind of stuff. So this was much more on a personal level for him, and him just like angry drinking in the bar is just so him just growling, it's coming. The Trandoshans are just making bank at the slots or whatever over there, and he's just getting pissed. And I love that anger when he's like, he likes being talked up to by this like, this attractive Twi'lek just kind of approaches him and is giving him all the cool masculine like boosted confidence and stuff, and he just says, you know what, fuck it, rips the arms off and just drops the credits in her hand like, I don't care about my fucking tab, I'll pay it.
That was great.
It was all for the satisfaction of him just getting his gain there. So
he almost took offense, like, what do you think I am, poor? Like, what, like, like, I'll pay off your bill, little Wookiee. It's like, no, I can do this myself, bitch. And then he does it. I will say, as maybe the resident Twi'lek fan, I'm not the biggest fan of her because I feel like they try to make her look too human. I feel like they've really tried to hide her like headpiece and they push it back, and even the way it's positioned, I feel like because she's like a main character, she looks too human for me. I need a bit more Twi'lek. Maybe that just depends on who her father or mother was, but that's all I'll say about that situation.
I agree with you. I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to the more colored Twi'leks, but
did you guys
she looked very human.
See the meme of just from last week's episode, the mayor's assistant going for like from behind, and it's like, oh, now I know where they got the idea for like the Twi'lek's headpiece. Did you see that one, Kirklin? Of all people, I'll have to send it to you.
Oh shit! What was I gonna say? Oh no! So
Anything
Black
further in Black
Chrysanthemum.
Chrysanthemum?
It was something to do with like you know when you have a thought and you can feel it getting further and further away.
Yeah, you gotta stop thinking about it. It'll come back.
That's what it was. Okay,
you
so no, I did the opposite. It worked. I'm on the complete other side of Taylor. Black Chrysanthemum will not be an Obi-Wan whatsoever, just because they're starting to like a little bit, but I feel like they very much still like they don't redo canon stuff. I would love it if they just say, hey, this comic book, we're gonna do it in live action. But they almost take it as like, well, it happened in the comic, happened in the book. It already did, like, it already was a thing. We can't do it here. So I just don't, for one, I don't see them doing it because of that reason. They just be like, oh, well, already happened in the comic that Obi-Wan and Chrysanthemum fight. And two, I feel like the Obi-Wan show is going to be very busy. It's going to be 6 episodes. I feel like it's going to be a very, other than episode 1, a grip and rivet, we're going to be moving at a fast pace. I don't think there's going to be a one-off of him fighting Black Chrysanthemum. Because if Obi-Wan leaves this planet, I don't think so. In the show that I always wanted, that I was pitching to Taylor, like the Logan with Obi-Wan, where it's just him on Tatooine dealing with depression and stuff on Tatooine, I think 100%. But the fact he has to go off and find Skywalker and fight Vader and he's going to try one last time, that's where I think that, no, I don't think we'll get Black Chrysanthemum. It just doesn't really fit to me in this. Would I like it? Oh, yeah, sure, I'd be down. But I don't think Obi-Wan will be... I don't think it'll be seen there at all. So I'm like almost 100% no. Kirklin, you're Sweden, you're Poland. Do you think we see Black Chrysanthemum? I think you explain. Did you explain to Kirklin last week why with the importance of Obi-Wan and Black Chrysanthemum?
I never explained it. No.
Okay.
But I can give you a quick crash course. You might have noticed it in this episode, but you can see it prominently in the previous episode when he's attacking Boba. He's got a scar over his... I believe it's the left eye.
Yeah.
And it is a scar and a wound that Obi-Wan Kenobi gave him because I believe Jabba the Hutt commissioned Chrysanthemum to go and kidnap Uncle Owen. And Obi-Wan kind of interfered and put a stop to it and said to Chrysanthemum, I can't remember. There was a certain dispute over it.
It's over for you.
Joel Egerton.
But the reason why I'm pitching that we'll see him is because that took place 10 years after Revenge of the Sith and before A New Hope, and the Obi-Wan show is set 10 years before and after. So I feel like if you have, again, Joel Egerton's in the Obi-Wan show, but that could be for any other infinite reasons. But I feel like you could just sneak him in there at the beginning of the first episode, just like, oh, okay, here's a cool, just like Obi-Wan's just in the middle of this mission. He just squares off against Chrysanthemum, and then you just get into like the nitty gritty of Obi-Wan's story.
Yeah, I'm definitely Switzerland on this. I don't have much opinion on it, but I think if anything, Taylor swayed me over with his argument. So maybe I'm like 50-50 or 50-50.
Say that's nowhere ahead of being
55%.
He's Boba Fett. You swayed me. I'm 50-50. But
negotiations were a success.
Yeah, nothing changed from when it started, so it's a success. It didn't get worse, Fennec. It didn't get worse. Yeah, we'll see in May. I will take. I'll bet you like a pizza. That's what I'll bet you. The loser has to buy the other person a pizza next time we do a get together.
I think something also that's swaying me is
Red Swan pizza.
I feel. Ooh, that's a good one. I feel like Star Wars, and especially with these shows, they want to like have a lot of crossover just to build like a bit of a universe so it feels fairly familiar. I mean, we got that with Fennec, Boba, like they were all in Mandalorian, so I think that's another reason why I'm kind of leaning the 55% on Taylor's side on that.
Yeah, but that was still established in Mandalorian, right? It's not like Boba Fett happened and they're like, oh, you know Fennec. They established that there. So I don't think Boba Fett...
Nothing's starting in Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Well, Chrysanthemum did. I mean, they kind of established Chrysanthemum a little bit more.
No, you're right, but that's where it's like, okay, does the carryover happen Obi-Wan? We're saying like in Mandalorian, Boba Fett and Fennec were established as a thing, and then they span him off. If he does end up, the closest they got to that was Maul and Solo, where it's like this is something from a different era, different movie, and we put in this. It didn't work out in the long run. They had plans. Clearly, it didn't go down that route. But that was to me the first time where it was like, oh, they're trying to do like the MCU like kind of crossover thing, where it's like, oh, you know this bit of information, here it is. So. We'll see in May. I'm gonna laugh when Obi-Wan starts and like he's just on Tatooine for like the first 5 minutes and then he's gone and like there's no Black Chrysanthemum. But again, I will put on the record that I hope Taylor's right. I love that type of stuff again because I just think they should, just because it happened in the comics and books, adapt it for live action. That's what like there's millions of people that have read or seen these books at all. So fucking adapt it for them. Like it's weird. It's just like any other franchise. It's like Harry Potter being, well, they did in the books, so we don't really want to do the movies. No, just adapt it to live screen. Just do the exact same thing with actors and sounds now, you know? So
Script's right there. It's all ready.
yeah, easy day at the office. Fight with Black Chrysanthemum, Obi-Wan, but you know. Anything else? I'll look at my notes, but I think I got it.
I have just a couple things. So when he goes to the mod maker and brings Fennec there when he's being all robotic, there was some really, really just bizarre music playing while it was just like a montage of this guy just like repairing Fennec, and it just really stood out to me. I honestly thought I had my Spotify like playing, just like, you know, I had like lo-fi beats going while I was, you know, reading Batman, getting ready for CBV, and then I'm like, have I just been playing this whole time? No, it's just a really, really bizarre music choice for that scene. So that was just strange. Maybe they're just really trying to lean like the cyberpunk route, make it seem like just like, oh, aren't you too old to be in here? Like, just that whole situation was kind of strange. But I like how she kind of came out like the Terminator, as you were pointing out. The other one was the head Twi'lek lady in the bar. Like once Black Chrysanthemum did his deed and just left, and she just gets the band playing again. Just hit it, Max. Like the most just non-alien like name I would expect out of just like one of like the band players. Maybe Chuckle for sure.
You know he's from A New Hope, right? Max Rebo is his name.
Is he the Biff?
No, he's the little blue guy with like the trunk. Yeah, he's the guy playing in A New Hope. Yeah.
Okay. Same guy?
It's the same dude. Yeah, Max Rebo.
Damn, that's awesome. Yeah, I didn't know that.
Still
Glad I
kicking
brought it
it.
up.
Still 5 years later, still there. So that's good for him. You know, he's got a good gig.
He's got grandkids now. And then the other one, I mentioned this to Taylor off cast, but I just got to bring it up on air. There was, oh no, I forgot the alien name. Taylor might be able to help me out here, but his name was Master Master Garfalaquax.
There you go.
Such a cool name. Oh, so great. I love it.
And who was that? Sorry.
Taylor, what was the race?
Quailish.
Yes.
Was he in the show or something
right.
though?
He was in
yeah,
the
he
show.
he was like in the council of
Okay.
the successful negotiations.
Yeah, really successful. Yeah. Taylor, any other notes you got?
I just love the score so much. It just gets me going. I listen to the Book of Boba Fett theme probably 3 to 4 times daily. It just gets me so jazzed. So
I feel like I definitely believe you after we went over our Spotify Wrapped this year. So
I'm gonna put on the board for our next Spotify kind of 2022 wrap up.
Yeah, I think Loadbook's always good. I definitely prefer his Mandalorian score to this. I don't think there's been as many tracks that I was like, oh, I gotta listen to this. But anytime Loadbook's there, it's quality. So,
absolutely.
Well, we will be back next week for episode 5, I guess. So if there is 7 episodes, we're getting close to the finale. I'm interested to see. I never know what we're going to get because I didn't think we were going to get like a whole Fennec Boba episode here. So next week could be something random, could be about the Pikes, but we will be here, a collection of us talking about Boba Fett. Let us know on the Discord, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, what you thought, your thoughts, anything we missed, anything you want to shout out, anything you liked or disliked. We'd love to hear it, and we thank you for your feedback. And yes, we promise you, when you hear from us next, it will not be boring. May the Force be with you.
Always.
Bye-bye.